Gracious, most merciful, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you. From the platform of the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research, and on behalf of His Excellency Sultan Rashid Al Nuaimi, the General Director of the Center, I would like to greet you and thank you for your attention, and we welcome you to Emirates Thinker series. We are hosting in this series an elite of thinkers of UAE nationals. This support the cultural and think tanks and gives the best visions. We direct our speech today economically because of its importance in formulating the global strategies. Today we'll talk about the circular economy. What is circular economy? And actually it is a comprehensive method of production that links the production to the conclusion and preserve environment and resources. So lots of the global industrial sector creates significant environmental challenges which necessitates a move toward the principles of circular economy, such as climate change, material scarcity, and pollution. So among the environmental challenges and the strategies of the circular economy implemented by Abu Dhabi and its role in combating climate change. To understand, appreciate all of these and discuss its aspects, we are happy to host His Excellency Rashid Abdul Karim Al-Blushi, Under Secretary of Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development. His Excellency started his career 24 years ago at Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, and then he was promoted to become the CEO of ADX. He had a clear mark, and his management was characterized by a clear strategic vision that enhanced Abu Dhabi or ADX's performance and in a way that supported the local economy. His Excellency also played eminent roles in the economic field. I'd like to invite His Excellency to start his lecture. Peace be upon you. So this is the first time I hear such introduction, so thank you very much for your kind words. Firstly, I'd like to thank Dr. Sultan for this opportunity. I was reading about circular economy. I started to or decided to make my own study. And I will talk about this later, and how we see our the circular economy in our department. It's very important. The circular economy topic is very hot topic and important, and it should start with us, the individuals. 2 weeks ago, we were on a business trip to an African state, and on the agenda was to visit factories, some factories for manufacturing sugar. What attracted me, that was before we started talking about the circular economy. What attracted me that once we entered the sugar canes, they will separate it 50%. The process will be in the oven, 50% will be in the oven. They call it tahiti. They heat the ovens. This heating, the temperature gets very high, and they take electricity or generate electricity from this, and this feed the factory itself and another factory that is affiliated to this community. Factory or main factory and the community around the factory. All these are having power from the electricity generated from the sugar industry there. I remember on that side it will go to another oven. So there were a few ovens that in which the process goes on, and a substance will be generated. This substance is separated itself. It is considered waste. I didn't know that sugar gives alcohol. This goes into two processes, one for the hospitals. The product itself goes to hospitals, and the concentrated substance goes to another factory that is different from that, the first one. This sugar, like paste, then it goes through a process cooled by water. And here we have two types. The compressed or concentrated is mixed with the ashes of the heating process, if you remember, and it becomes fertilizers. The water itself is recycled for cooling. So the whole point is, what attracted me really, that this factory, once we entered from the door till we left, so the waste, there is no waste. It is preserved. So this is reused, this waste. It's very, very limited. This is the hard work. This is the clever work and smart working. So before I talk about economy generally, so what does economy mean? It has lots of definitions. We'll not detail it, but they are related to managing of resources and riches and any natural resources. Whatever we have is coming from the nature. Through a process, it serves some activities or services such as transport, manufacturing, for the consumers. We are the consumers. This is coming from raw material, and then it was processed, and as a consumer, we are using this. So we are talking about the circular economy. This is one of the concepts of economy. In the beginning, there was the linear economy, or the traditional or linear economy, which is basically you take the material, you extract the material, natural or processed, then you manufacture or make it into a product, then use it, then dispose of it. That was the traditional or linear. In 1970, the consumption of these resources or raw materials was 27 billion tons, now 100 billion tons. These materials, whether steel, chairs, tables, flowers, 1 billion tons now we are taking from the resources we have. So what is disposed is 90% of this 100 billion. We are just using 10%. This 90%, the losses of which 440 billion dirhams. Can you imagine the economic losses, my dear brothers and sisters? So the negative impacts is the consumption, and 10% only was recycled. So environmental harm also. We have 2 billion solid products are wasted. Today, this morning, the food, 931 tons of food are disposed, and this causes harmful to environment, especially the plastic, because we are not recycling the plastic. 5% only we are using, while the 95% is disposed in land, sea, and sometimes it is melting by a process. This cost 30 billion dirhams. So one of the solutions proposed was the circular economy we are talking about now. Basically, you take the raw material, you make it, but instead of wasting or disposing the material used, you recycle them. So, like the factory we just talked about, because this recycle can help other. So if we talk about circular economy, and this, it has lots of advantages, such as preserve environment. And so new developments that are called renewable energies, which became, we have in a green, blue, pink, gray. All of these are new ideas, novel ideas. When you are talking about recycling, innovations never stop. So it always brings new and novel ideas for community. Also the competence and generating new job opportunities. They say 6 million job opportunities will be generated. Also the proceeds on the economics of the circular 14 trillion dirhams are the benefits of the circular economy. So if this recycle takes place, so the proceeds or the benefits will be 14 billion dirhams. And so also reduce the amount of waste, such as a plastic, 8.4 billion tons in amounts. This is generally the comprehensive picture of circular economy. We as UAE, what is our role? Are we coping and moving abreast with the circular economy? Thank to God. I always repeat this word on many occasions. UAE, since establishment, our life wasn't easy. Raw material resources were not there, water, food, even the nature itself. If we go back to the behavior and acts of our ancestors and we link them to this, it was very, very complicated, and it is somehow related to circular economy. So as UAE, so the milestones in April 2023 agenda was prepared for circular economy and put 22 policies. Even our kids, brothers, started to adapt these changes taking place in circular economy, and some sectors focused manufacturing, food, transport, and infrastructure. This is at the state level. We, as DED, what is our role in circular economy? Firstly, we have a clear industry policy, and as government we are investing 10 billion dirhams till 5 years starting from this year. What do we want from this investment? Three things. First, we want the investment sector to increase by 2023 30 by 100%, which is now is $83 billion. We want to reach 172 billion. Secondly, we want our exports, non-fuel, to go to 143%, 178.8 billion dirhams, and create 13,600 job opportunities. So we have 6 projects. One of them called the circular economy. We have 966 factories. We are working with these factories to develop the infrastructure. They have technology, power, ideas and visions. So we go to them, we give them incentives for this. We reduce electricity. If he develops, for example, reduces the amount of consuming electricity, we give him some incentives. So the waste here will be managed. So the factory's waste will be managed properly, and it goes to another factory in. We have a company here about Hadid Al Imarat or Emirates Steel. When we are making the steel, we have CO2, carbon. 800,000 tons. This affects the environment, of course. Emirates Steel with ADNOC, they take this material and they pumped in generating and extracting other fuel material. This is smartness. We preserved the environment, reduced cost, depended on ourselves. During COVID, we learned that we have to discover. We have concluded that you have to depend on yourself. That's what the lessons we had from Corona. So the influence of this strategy impacted very clearly, positively, and we have a clear objectives such as to now the percentage of implementation of circular economy is 2%. 966. They have the vision only. Bring raw material, process, then I dispose of the waste. Now we want this percentage, to become 20. Also, managing the use of power, water in the industrial facilities, and this policy will serve this, reducing the consumption of electricity, water, and this is what we call the golden list. Also enhancing to a green economy, the trend to move or the movement towards a green economy. Thank God, lots of factories and even we ourselves, we are witnessing the green products used in an efficient ways. And also we want to work with the companies to, as I said in the example in the African factory, we want the product itself that is used to be reused or recycled in the same factory or another place. So the conclusions we witnessed were very positive. The reactions and responses or the feedback from the factories are strong and positive. And many of these factories supported and wanted to, instead, they are using now technology that are power efficient. This all serves the concept of recycling the economy. So as individuals, what is our concern? In conclusion, it's all related. Even we as individuals, it's related to awareness. Let's forget about the factories. 2 weeks ago, I started to reading and do my researches on this, and I was dealing with my kids, teach them about waste not to be thrown. Maybe we can have a way to recycle this waste to preserve humanity, community, and environment. So we have to focus that. We start with the individuals. So my way or my lifestyle should be adapted to this. So when we go to figures, to numbers, they are really concerning. But the numbers, we are having limited resources, so we must focus on plastic that are home waste or domestic waste. So whenever we travel with my family, how do you know that this is a flat for Emirati or this is non-Emirati flat? You see, for example, we can see from the garbage or trash bags. Sometimes you see 5 bags, so this is when we are reviewing in UAE our policies, we try to develop our policy strategies, studies, researches to help recycling and circular economy. We have lots of incubators to adopt and support visions and ideas. All are there, but we have to adapt and think. I will not talk about circular economy. No, let's take it simply how to preserve our environment and take care of the waste we throw. Thank you very much. Thank you, His Excellency Rashid Abdul Karim Al Blushi, for the insightful information enriching us about circular economy. I will use my presence here as moderator. I will ask you 2 questions, then we'll open the questions for the audience. Concerning our living, our UAE's conditions, especially its, how can circular economy help the, so how can this help, this new policy and method to combat climate change, especially in UAE's and align with the UAE's vision and objectives? Through UAE, energy and fuel-based energy is the main resources and income, but the non-fuel sector developed highly to 9.4%, and this is very nice and great increase. So we are trying to diversify our economies and revenues. Climate change. We have the city of Masdar, and it was the first in the world a project that supports climate and protect environment internally as company, and Masdar at the global level. Many projects are related to green and blue energies. Most of these projects are sponsored by Masdar, and most of them are invested mainly by Masdar, and lots of proceeds are coming. So we have COP28 also. I'm talking. We have many projects that need funds, and some projects need political support, others intellectual support. UAE has big influence on COP28 and the projects post COP28, and although we are a fuel-based economy country, but we have working on developing and diversifying our sectors. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. The second question, you mentioned that the proceeds of the circular economy is about 14 trillion dirhams. Let's see the other side. What is the competence of the circular economy for me, or from the perspective of the consumer? Can there be any inflation or extra or increase on the prices for me as consumer? Let me go to the factory in Africa. We started to compare the sugar prices. It was cheap compared to the other competitors. They said, I'm not producing sugar only. I'm selling fertilizers, electricity, and also for hospitals. And I'm using also, or I having also another affiliated company. So when circular economy and recycling or reusing materials, this will reduce the cost, transport, shipping, insurance, handling. All of these costs will be lower. So if you take it or put it in, or take it in the comprehensive context, this will also create benefits. So if we come to other sides or aspects, circular economy always, and those who invest in circular economy come up with different and new innovations and ideas. They come up with developing many things. This also have other impacts, positive impacts. So it's a system, a process. No, it will not cause inflation. It will create deflation, and it will be cost efficient. Now, discussion is open to the audience. Please introduce yourself and the intervention or comment or question. So brief. Let's start with the first question. Dr. Rashid Al from the Gulf Academy for Strategic and Security Strategy. Question to His Excellency Rashid. What are the policies for the GCC states that policies can take or make to support circular economy? It's one vision, one thought. Let me simplify it. What happens or what is extracted, you recycle it. The material or the resources you take, you make, you recycle. So when you are talking about 966 factories, and if you make more, if you talk about more factories, so this raw material taken, if recycled, can help other entities. So if you talk about at the level of the GCC, this means the policy is more and benefits are more. We started our strategies and policies, and we have clear pillars, and I'm sure that GCC states, and no doubt that if you magnify the circle, the benefits will be even more. And we always seek, when we are talking about benefits from GCC or in GCC levels, we always support and encourage the private sector, which mainly are the developers and manufacturers. So we want this sector to benefit. They will calculate their benefits. The private sector will calculate its benefits better and will always seek benefits. So as government entities, we are working on agreements, facilitating process such as, which we want is to converge or bridge the gap and bring the players and actors in the private sector to come together to clear vision and collaboration. Do you have any vision for proceeds if the private sector invests in circular economy? Do you have any number currently? No, I don't have a number. We have here some academics to calculate the numbers. No, currently I don't have numbers. Do we have any ladies? Thank you, Your Excellency, for this valuable lecture. I have two questions. First, from what you said, there are incentives for factories to activate the circular economy. Is there any ideas for regulations that impose on these factories to move towards circular economy? The second point is about raising awareness and outreach of the community. DED plays a role, but other entities must help and other institutions must help. Do you have any idea with, for example, other the community and other entities that raise awareness about circular economy? As for the first question about the incentives of the factories, you have electricity, fixed price, land, fixed price, water, fixed price, and at the same time you want to create sustainable economy based on knowledge and innovation. Knowledge and innovation, they are responsible for generating new ideas and visions concerning circular economy. I want to tell these companies and factories, I'll give you incentives. For example, I'll give you incentives on the price or the fees of the fixed price for electricity, land, if you meet some requirements, such as circular economy, golden list, which create greener products. And the raw material are from UAE itself, typical and indigenous to UAE. Here we are talking about food, for example, and other products, such as will help the country in kind of times of extremities and crises. So here we can preserve the supply chain. So recycling these materials, these factories are given incentives and supporting these factories, encouraging these factories to adopt this culture, and we are providing them with incentives. So the second point, awareness. We in DED, let me go back to what I said. Once I started to study more and delve more into this, I used to hear that plastic should not be used. Water bottles should be alternatively used. So when you go and see the value of this decision, you become convinced. It's true that there are awareness programs, and I'm sure that COP28 will add to these awareness campaigns, but I always support or encourage individuals to be aware of this. So awareness starts with the person himself. Kids, youth, they do their due diligence properly. They understand of the impact of this, that hazards and dangers are really, really dangerous. It takes lots of time to decompose, and it impacts negatively, harms the environment. Yeah, we are working with other entities. Sometimes we go to malls and shopping centers. We work with other entities and help make decisions to encourage sustainability. So now it's becoming, it's gaining ground. It's becoming culture. So we see the community started to adapt to this culture. Any other question? Thank you, Your Excellency, for the presentation. Wonderful presentation. You presented the idea of plastic. I have a proposal on this mainly. Some countries, that advanced countries in field of environment, I propose here for you, this water bottle here, some in other countries changed into a tin or a can. So it is carton and wrapped with tin, and inside it will be water, still water or fizzy water. This is my proposal to change the bottle. As you implemented the plastic idea, bags on co-ops and shopping centers, I advise or propose to this idea. This will help, especially with our UAEs. A climate which is dry, and you know that plastic is harmful to human health. True, lots of entities, including economic development department, we are using now the 500 millis, and they are there now, and we are. It started with the office, in the office. I took two, one in the office, one in the car. Now my kids, everyone has his own bottle of water. Factories now, there are products now colored green. This is recyclable, and they are starting to develop this. It's costly now, but many products started to go into that kind of containers you just talked about. So when I sell in a different container, the consumer will not buy it, as I always go to that idea that the individual's culture, the individual's awareness is very important. I was invited to, I must say to a story, I was invited to a dinner, we were in Europe, in his house there in Europe. One of my friends invited me to dinner. I noticed he was preserving, taking care of, for example, not using plastic bottles, he was using glass. And he was taking care of the waste, such as disposable things. He will preserve these things to recycle, as he said. The waste he has now are really, really sizable, but he is recycling this in Europe, but here, no. It's a culture. This is the sad story. So we have to, it all starts with ourselves. The good news, in one of the studies I found, we as Gulf and Emirati, particularly from the perspective of waste, we are the least waste producing country. So that's good. Let's work together to be not only at the GCC, but at the global level. Peace be upon you. The Gulf Academy for Security and Strategy Studies. Thank you very much for this presentation in which we witnessed our efforts in the energy exhibition held some time ago that was in collaboration with ADNOC for innovation, study and research, and we found some products of recycling and circular economy products. I remember there was some products recycled from some gases. And I asked about this point. That was waste. And this gas wasn't recycled before. And that was in Khalifa University section in collaboration with ADNOC. So we go back, if there is collaboration between the GCC states in this regard, in developing, innovating, Khalifa University, ADNOC, and other academic institutions with the Gulf states, other institutions and private sector companies, oil companies, so that the benefits can be for all of the GCC states. No doubt, universities, academic institutions are collaborating and working on researches and studies together. And before my job in the department, economic department, I was in the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, and we had that green index. Factories at the level of the Gulf recycle, the companies that used to recycle the waste materials such as heat or other things, they will go into green index, and there were investors I want. So when he studies, I would go to that company because that company is in the green index list. About the universities, yes, and I will not mention names. We gave some universities many proposals, and professors and students used to make their researches. And thank God in UAE, many of things we do depend on private sector and stakeholders, whether at the global level or the Gulf states. Thank you very much. Peace be upon you. Shamsa An-Nuaima, Senior Inspector in Environment Equality about commercial and industrial facilities. My question, as I go to the field and visit the commercial and industrial facilities, one of my role in inspection is to cover the areas or the waste or waste management sections from the company's perspective, and we as inspectors always encourage that this waste to go to be raw material or raw material for other factories, and many factories benefit from these waste, but the company's perspective generally is the best and easiest way is to dispose this waste by contracting with any of companies that deal with handling waste and disposing of waste. I think we should support and inform or give incentives to these factories by the government and encourage them to sell this waste to be as raw materials. This will help the economy of the state, and the seller company or the selling company which is sell the waste, that will create and generate proceeds. That's my opinion. What you say is accurate 100%. Let me see the figure. The opportunities and investments at the global level, if they focus only plastic, waste to plastic, 30 billion dirhams. Any factory owners, when you tell him what you are disposing or wasting, you can resell and show him the value, he will not dispose or waste the raw material. One time I inspected a visit that was using in timber and wood and discovered he was selling the waste because he was aware of the value. Emirates Steel, among others, when it generates 800,000 tons that it burns and then resells this, because it realized that this is a great opportunity to create and generate a proceeds. So 95% of the waste can be recycled in other factories, and people now are adopting this culture, now realizing the importance of this. Now they are not wasting, and now they are operating and benefiting from this. And now the market now is becoming or expanding now for selling and buying the recycled or the waste, the recycled waste. So the value is there, and many factories are understandable. At the end of this important presentation, and on behalf of the General Director of the Center, I would like to thank again His Excellency Rashid Abdul Karim Al Blushi, and to our audience, and hopefully we'll meet you again in another lecture soon. Thank you so much.